and she didn't really take an interest in politics, and she said both sides are bad, and then you spoke about it, and she said, well, okay, maybe that'll give me something to think about, right? Because she hadn't thought about it. That happens all the time. Like, you introduce a woman to new movies or new foods, and you find out, like, oh wow, okay, right? You'll probably be politically active. It'll probably include a lot of the content, news that you consume, and she's going, no, I don't care about it, so I'm not going to take part. You've now cut out a big chunk of your life that you can't share. She's making the judgment that I'm not willing to either learn about it enough to understand why you are passionate about it or care about it enough. But if it really, really matters to you, and I would say this, it's something that's pretty important. It's not like if it really matters to you and it's pickleball and she goes, her support is go play pickleball, right? She doesn't need to take part in that. But if this really, really matters to you and it is something that is kind of consequential and she has decided that she won't make it matter to her, the reason that she has decided she won't make it matter to her, I think could be a serious friction point. And I think you should ask her about it. If this is important to you, again, assuming that, I would bring it up with her and say, hey, look, this is something that you obviously see I'm really passionate about and matters to me a lot. And I would imagine if you're watching right now on Rumble Premium, you're probably pretty educated on it. And you probably could help teach her about it.
Yeah.
Right? Tell her that and say, so why don't you take an interest? Or why do you go quiet? What is it about this that you don't want to take part in? And I would also put the ball in her court. What do you believe and why? And are you at least willing to engage in reasoning your position as to what you believe and why, and us discussing it? Because if she's not going to discuss it, if she falls silent and gets defensive, that's a huge chunk of your life that you now have to just cut out and you only share with other people, not your wife. And that's never a good place, in my opinion, if it's something that is foundational to you. Were you about to say there's something, a clarifying thing, Noodles?
No. We're just watching the chat to see if they were adding anything else. Nope.
I would say not to be combative either.
No.
You love this woman. Because if she's getting defensive, maybe it's maybe she's misconstruing how you're coming off.
Yeah. You could be like, beating her over the head with a Bible kind of thing. So
or a Quran,
like the Constitution. Whatever. No, I do think you have to have, and the reason I said it sounds like your former fiance is like, I think we have to take this more seriously than we do a lot of times. People think like, oh, well, it's just a political difference. It's like, well, do you have an economic difference? Like, do you disagree on economic policy? Fine, you can deal with that. No big deal. Like, you think it should be done this way. I think it should be done this way. Whatever. How do you feel about transing kids? How do you feel about abortion? How do you feel about immigration? How do you feel about public education and how kids, potentially yours in the future, should be educated? Who has the right to be able to come into your home and take your kids from you, if anybody? There are a lot of things that really do matter that are going to be sticking issues that you need to talk about now. And you may find that those issues are issues of agreement. And thank God, because you're engaged. But if you don't sit down and say, hey, this is a really important conversation for me. Am I coming about this the wrong way? Like, am I approaching this conversation the wrong way? Do we just disagree on some fundamental issues? If they are truly big fundamental issues, not like I like Republicans more than I like Democrats or vice versa, then you have to talk about them. And I don't think you get equally yoked with somebody who completely disagrees on major decisions. Yeah. Not every one of these political things is major, but a lot of them are.
And also, I will say this too. Again, it is different between male and female because there are guys I've known who go, I don't pay attention to politics. It seems like it's all a rigged game. I pay my taxes, but I want people to leave me alone. I want us to be safe, and I want, as long as people aren't hurting anyone else, then it's none of my business. A lot of guys, that'll be the default position if they're apolitical, right? Mm-hmm. A woman who says she's apolitical, the default position is feminism because she's been bombarded with it from birth to today. It's very, very different. A woman who says, I don't know, I think both sides are bad, then you get into the social issues and the cultural issues. And if you had to bet your life, absolutely bet your life that she leans left sociologically with feminism. That's the important thing. Women think they don't take an interest, but the message has constantly been we're not just talking about women's rights, but you are perfect. Patriarchy, male privilege, right? Boss babe. There have not been many positive messages out there that have been targeted to women in these last generations. It's just not a thing. Now, I would say there have been a lot of negative messages, obviously targeted towards men. Men have a different accountability structure where if a man, for example, is conservative, if he is a Christian, that enclave will protect him or they will hold him accountable. And that's more powerful than the message coming from Hollywood or the media. We don't see that as much with women. That's why you see more women in the Christian church voting Democrat than male atheists. These are statistical realities. The default position of an apolitical woman is going to be further to the left than the default position of a man. And I would take that into account and ask her about those issues, because you don't want to be blindsided by those once you get to the point of having children and deciding how to raise them.
Yeah.
Have these conversations, and you know what? If there's some progress, please do follow up. I'd be curious to see where they lead. I didn't realize we went late here for a Friday show. We're going to see you guys on Monday, and then it's we do Monday, Tuesday, and then it's Thanksgiving.
There you go.
All right, next week.
Illegals are all gone from Carolina. You can get to work on time, check out at the store without a line. We've got to put ice on overtime to make these changes countrywide. They're all gone from Carolina, it's about time.
Subject for today,